Hey guys, so I'm excited about today's podcast because I'm sharing with you part of a free workshop I just offered. And I just want to say thank you for being here, for listening to this podcast. And if you're on my email list, you may have joined this class, this workshop. If not, I really wanted to share it with all of the listeners here because we've had a beautiful conversation about how our breath is our natural reset button, how it's this beautiful connection between the unconscious and the conscious mind, and how we can use the breath to signal safety in the body, and why that signal is so important for our nervous system, and how it allows us to open up our intuition and also bring in and manifest the things we're asking for so that our body and our nervous system feel safe having the things we consciously desire. And I introduce and talk about why am I doing breath work now? What is this, what I call bottom-up modality? Why is it so effective? And also how it is so different, the type of breath work that I get to guide you through, which is trauma-informed breath work. And why that is so different is because everyone's nervous system has different needs. And your pace and your depth and you choosing that is your nervous system's language. So the power of choice here is really vital. And that's how we build trust between our body and our nervous system over time, which opens up all these awesome things. Like I said, your intuition, your creativity, your clarity in your choices. So today's episode is a clip from that workshop. If you'd like the whole workshop and including the breathwork experience at the end, just head to my website, emilyevansrussell.com/experience, or click in the show notes below. I've got the link down there. And that way you can set yourself up in a comfortable place and also experience the breath session that I guide you through. Enjoy. Okay, so you are all here. Thank you for being here for this session that's all about coming back home to yourself. It's like I really wanted to create this as an invitation to getting back connected or turning up the connection with ourselves and what is true for us. And if you don't know me, I'm Emily Russell. A lot of you guys do know me, but if you're new, and I have been really fascinated my whole life with the body, with energy, with all the systems and how they work internally and with the external world and with energetics. And I studied biology in college. I was a science teacher, as a yoga teacher. Some of you know me for 10 years. I've facilitated Access Consciousness, which is energy work and body work. And it's also a lot of what you can call top-down work when you work with let's change limiting points of view that we have up here, right? Today is going to be breath work, which is bottom-up work. And why I love that bottom-up work is because really if we had to give numbers, if you know the 80-20 rule, 80% of what's going on takes place, the information that comes in through our body. And our body is where we have access to who we are, what is true for us, our knowing, our intuition. And when we change what's going on with the body, and the breath is a super easy, powerful, accessible way to do that. When we shift the energy in the body and the vibration in the body, it changes what's going on up here. So our thoughts change, our points of view change, our perspective changes, our lens on how we see things changes, right? If you've ever just woken up or had a day where you're I feel good, and you've got this vibe going on in this energy, everything around you in the world seems great, right? You don't really care if you get caught in traffic. Other people seem to be in a good mood because you're viewing it through a different lens, right? That came from inside, internally. So no matter what I have done throughout my life, my target in working with people, and I've been so lucky to work with thousands of people in all different countries, like you guys. So thank you for being here. But it's always been to really empower people to know there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing messed up with you. And you have a unique, whatever you like, a knowing and intuition of what is true for you. Nobody else has that, right? And it is so easy in our world because we are so trained to look externally for that, right? Like someone else must have the answer or the thing, or this person is more aware than me. They know. Let me ask them a question. And in reality, that wisdom is within you. Like you have infinite intelligence in your body and in your connection to whatever you call that connection to, God, source, universe, the earth, right? And I myself have experienced, and I would say every client I've ever worked with also experiences doubt and like, I don't know. I don't know what my yes or no is. I don't know if this is light. I don't know like which way to go. Or sometimes we get like that knowing and then we might not trust it or we doubt it. And so my target has always been to invite people to remember that you already know, like to remember all of these gifts and capacities within you. And the breath is such a beautiful doorway in, because it's the only function in our system, our automatic, or we call the autonomic nervous system, that we can consciously shift and change and control. So we can't go, oh, I want my heart rate to slow down, or I would like my temperature to drop. I mean, there's stories of some like yogis in ancient times that can do that. So I won't say it's not possible, but the way easier one to work with is the breath, right? And so it creates a bridge between our unconscious and our consciousness, which is really cool gateway in. And it's like this awesome reset button. So we're going to play with that today so you can experience it. So what today will look like, I'll talk a little bit more about the breath and the nervous system and the type of breath we're going to be doing today, which is trauma-informed breathing. So if you've ever done breath work where someone like leads you through a pace and it's like, okay, now go faster, and that's not going to be what today is. Today is all about your choice, your sovereignty, and why that is so key when we're working with the body and the nervous system. And I had to invite you guys to this week so that you could experience it. And then I would also, when you guys get the replay for this, you'll get an email with the replay. I am starting a membership for Breathwork. So each month we can come together and do a short one like this for 30 minutes, have a longer session for like an hour, and then have a call where we just come on and chat and talk and ask questions. Because what I've seen for myself and with other people, it's the constant coming back to the body and building trust and a new relationship with our nervous system that makes big changes over time. It's like each one is a little drip in, a drip in, a drip in. We call it titration in like the nervous system world. So I would love to invite you guys all to that too, but just to enjoy this experience today. Okay, cool. All right. So let's chat a little bit before we begin. And just so you know, after we're done chatting, you will want to find or have a place to sit or to lay down when we breathe. But a little bit about the breath and why it's such a cool reset button. So this connection between the consciousness and the unconscious mind is a beautiful way to let the body know that you are safe. And why is safety important? Well, here's the thing, you guys, the nervous system in our body, it's ancient, right? And it's this automatic system that's constantly scanning our environment with the number one priority to keep you alive. So that's awesome. We're really grateful we have that. But the problem is in our daily lives, a lot of what's going on is read as something as a threat to us. That's not. The nervous system doesn't understand anything except that's a lion that's about to eat me when it perceives something that's a threat. So nowadays that can be like you open a bill that you don't know why it's so big or how you're going to pay it, or you have a fight with someone at work, or something stressful with your family or children. And when that's read by the body as something stressful or a threat, we go in automatically. It's not a conscious choice into that fight or flight mode, which is basically activated. So in the nervous system, I'm either activated to run towards something and fight it or run away from it, but it's activated, which we call like hyper aroused. And most of us in today's society have a lot of activation in that direction, right? Because the way our world is set up and the constant like everything we have to do. And then there's freeze and fawn, which are more like hypo-regulated responses, which are like, my best response here is to freeze and play dead. My best response is to make sure everyone in my tribe is taken care of and pleased, like the kind of people pleasing or high achieving, so that you're going to be okay. And again, we don't consciously choose which one of these we go into. So it's going on in the background, and it can be from previous life experiences. It can be from past life stuff. The key is what we can do with breath work is change the information coming into our system so that we widen basically our window of like allowance for what's going on in our world, because life and stressful things are going to show up, right? And so the target is for most of us is to not react. Like how many times have we reacted or chosen from fear or from anger or from like, shit, I don't know why I just said that, but it was like this like knee-jerk response or trigger. And what it does when we expand and the flexibility of our nervous system and regulate it into a space where opening up a bill doesn't freak us out, then we have the space to respond to life, to have choice in how to move forward, to actually take the pause to go, wait, what do I actually know here? What is true for me? What is aligned with my path where I would like to go, and choose from there? That's the gift of it. And we can start hearing our intuition more loudly because we have access to that when we are not in an activated nervous system state. So when we are in fight or flight or freeze or fawn, it's like all bets off for everything else. We just need to survive. And so we lose access to our intuition, to creativity, to the ability to extrapolate and see things from a broader perspective. All of that goes out the window because it's not necessary to survive, right? Our sensuality, like connection with our body, it's like, nope, not relevant. So when we can basically input to the body by breathing in a way that we breathe when we're safe. So if you think about it, if you're ever scared or you've seen a movie and people are freaking out, what happens to the breath? You're often like, right? It's in and out through the mouth, usually fast and all up in the chest. And that signals to the body, oh shit, like we need to stay in this activated mode. And it helps us do that. So when we slow down the breath and breathe like in through the nose and slowly out through the mouth, we give input to this automatic system going, oh, I guess everything is safe. We're good. And we switch into what's called that parasympathetic, which is like your peaceful state, your rest and digest state, where you have access to hearing your voice, your inner voice, hearing your knowing, all of your creative ideas, this space where like flow occurs because we're able to thrive because we're not just stuck in have to survive mode. So that's why the beauty of creating a sense of safety in the body, because you might be like, well, I know I'm safe. You know, we don't consciously think about it, but we're always actually scanning our environment to go like, is the roof going to fall down? Is it like you're doing that automatically? But a lot of times we don't look at the other levels of safety that we're unconsciously looking for. Like, do I feel safe to have some of like my emotions or stuff that I'm looking at come up? Do I feel like I can handle that? Do I feel relationally safe, like with this person, with this friend, with this facilitator? Do I feel a sense of connection with something bigger than me, whether it's the earth or a pet or the universe? And when we can tap into that and also create that felt sense of safety in the body, then the things that we're asking for to show up in our lives too, like that we'd like to manifest and actualize, can actually come in because your nervous system has to feel safe having it. And anything new, even if consciously we're like, I'd really love an awesome new relationship, or I'd love $1 million, or I'd love my business to bring in this amount. if it hasn't happened before, your brain is like, I don't know that. That is scary. That's a lion that's going to eat me. So then you've got 95%, which is your unconscious mind, running the show, going, I know you say you want this, but it's not feeling safe. So when we create safety in the body, and at the end of today's breath work, I'm going to spend like 5-ish or so minutes with you guys where I'm going to ask you to bring up like an image or a scene of something you're asking to bring into your life, something you're asking to manifest and actualize. Because when you do that after you breathe and when your body feels really safe, it gives the message to your brain, oh, this might be different, but this feels good. This actually feels safe. And now you've got your unconscious on board, working for what you consciously desire. Because it's only trying to help you all the time. Like these things like, I seem to self-sabotage myself, or I can't get myself to do this. And it's just our unconscious going, no, this is safer over here. It's not, you're not wrong. You're not messed up. It's the system that's working automatically. And so this is such a cool way to bring it on board with what you would like to bring in. Cool. So, as I mentioned before, the breath work we're going to do today is what's called trauma-informed breath, because everybody on here has a different nervous system. All of you have different experiences and different paths and different things going on currently that your nervous system requires something different, right? So when you choose your pace of breathing and your depth of breathing and your intensity, you're speaking your nervous system's language, which is really key. Because if you are, and it can be such medicine for those of us like myself that can love to be high achievers or to try to get everything right or be perfectionists. I love that one. And so rather than going, oh, it'd be really good if I just jumped off the 10th flight of stairs into the deep end, because I should be able to do that and I want to do that. And this lets your body know, ooh, maybe it'd be nice if I walked down first and took a dip in the shallow and then had it feel good. And so choosing a pace that actually feels good for you without pushing and thinking the harder I push or the more intensity equals more transformation is not the case. And that was a real game changer for me. And when I started adding breath work in, I have a tendency, especially when if I'm working receiving a session from someone one-to-one, to want to get the most out of it, right? And I would notice myself going, maybe I should breathe faster and make them happier, or maybe I'll get a bigger result. And then I was like, whoa. But my body was so clear of, no, I would like to breathe slowly. Because I had spent so many years not realizing it. Because here's the thing, what's normal, your nervous system is used to. So even if it's super hyper regulated, if it feels normal, it will continue. It's well, I know this one. I know what it's like to work 12-hour days on the computer. And I know what it's like to travel around the world every other week. And I know what it's like to make everybody else happy and get acknowledgement for it. So I'm just going to keep doing it. And so I was so there until my body was like, can we slow down? It was just giving me signals of I would start crying at random times or have to sleep for days after a big change. And those are signals that your body is like, whoa, wait a second. And so when I started doing breath work and listened to and was invited to choose your own pace, choose your own depth, my body was like, I would like to go really slow. Because it required me to down regulate because I was so used to up here. Now, if you are someone that tends to more be like, oh, I don't feel like I have energy, or I just feel really lethargic or depressed, or more on the other end, then it may feel different, but also be medicine for you to add in a little energy, maybe breathe deeper or faster. But only you know that. And so this is an invitation to we'll start off slow and kind of warm up the body. And we'll only be in active breath for about nine minutes in a pattern. So it really is a gentle invitation to this, but that's why it's very different, because I want to honor you to experience that conversation with your body where you build trust with your body. by saying, oh, my head thinks this is a good way to do it. My head thinks this would be better, or I'm used to this, but what's the body saying? And when we start to listen to that, it again amplifies your wisdom, your intuition that's in here, because you're actually listening to it. And the more you do it and the more you do it, your level of trust and your level of knowing just starts to grow and grow and grow, because you're having this dialogue in a totally different way. Okay. All right. And then the other thing I want to say about this is I love it because breathwork is really simple, right? You have access to it at all the time. So what we do today, I'll show you a breath pattern and like a breath hold that then you can take home with you and use any time, right? That's the beauty of it. Now, I love coming together because there's a special, an energetic thing that happens when we're in a group. And also when someone is here's what, like, okay, what would you like to get out of this session? And then can also be with your ask, with your intention, and add energy to that. That's a really beautiful thing. And it's also great to have someone hold space for you that doesn't have a judgment, right? It's like you get to show up as you today with whatever's going on without having to fix or change anything. So an invitation to that. Oh, and I love seeing all of your comments. Okay. So let's start creating a new relationship and conversation with our body and our nervous system. Does that sound good? All right, guys, thank you so much for being here and listening. If you would like to experience the breath session as well and have this file as something you can download and listen to over and over, then head to emilyevansrussell.com/experience or the link in the show notes. That way I can guide you through a breath session and you can start building this new relationship with your nervous system.